Barricades up outside of LAPD's downtown headquarters after a standoff between protesters and police over 2 officer-involved shootings in South LA this weekend.
Another child is murdered!
DPS has hundreds of cameras on campus in an effort to keep students safe. Tonight we look at just how secure this technology is. The Trump campaign is dealing with controversy surrounding the Republican nominee's tax returns. I'll be talking with a First Amendment lawyer about what this means for Trump.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
No justice!
No peace!
Community leaders protest at LAPD headquarters after 2 officer-involved shootings over the weekend. LAPD Chief Charlie Beck defended his officers today in both South LA shootings. Good evening, I'm Rachel Frayne.
And I'm Etienne Smith. Protesters interrupted the police chief chanting, "No justice, no peace." 3 of these protesters were arrested for refusing to leave when asked to do so. Annenberg Media's Cole Sullivan was there and has the latest on shootings and their community reaction.
It's unacceptable! Y'all are ending lives!
Black Lives Matter protesters in a standoff with LAPD at police headquarters.
No justice, no peace! No racist police!
They want answers after 2 deadly officer-involved shootings in South LA. 18-year-old Carnell Snell was shot after being chased by police on Saturday near 107th and Western.
A total of 6 rounds were fired, and Cornell Snell was sent to the pavement.
And then yesterday, another deadly officer-involved shooting, this time at 48th and Ascot. Beck says that man pointed what looked like a gun at officers.
It is a replica handgun that has had the orange tip colored by black paint or black felt pen.
As he spoke, police ordered protesters to leave the premises. And after the LAPD dispersed those protesters from inside the police headquarters lobby behind me, they put up these barricades you see here. But many of the protesters stayed behind and said they want more accountability from police.
We want the indictment of the police officer who killed them. We want their names released. We want the police to actually release the videotapes that they claim to have.
They point to a broader disconnect between police and their community.
We know that there's not accountability, and we know that there's narrative building and creating that happens.
But the police union says officers were justified in their use of force.
Now, in the case over the weekend, the actions of the suspects absolutely caused the reactions of the officers.
LAPD Chief Charlie Beck says he's deployed community relations specialists to the 2 neighborhoods as investigators look at video from body cameras in nearby businesses to see exactly what happened. For Annenberg Media, I'm Cole Sullivan.
Students at USC are constantly being watched by about 1,000 cameras, to be exact, including some that track license plates. This information all comes from the annual DPS report released on Friday. DPS surveillance operations monitors constantly keep an eye on more than 100 high-definition rotatable cameras. Nearly half of those cameras are LPRs. They take screenshots of the license plates on cars that are within DPS boundaries and store them for 30 days.
I'm always dubious about a lot of the claims they make around license plate readers, particularly claims that somehow traditional policing couldn't have solved the crime in the same amount of time with less technical resources. You know, are there people on staff who are accessing this, who are looking up information on students, perhaps because they have a personal reason to do so?
Assistant Chief David Carlisle says DPS's #1 concern is safety, and they do not invade anyone's privacy.
Well, our license plate recognition system photographs vehicles along with their license plate, but we don't have any access to any private information, such as registered owner information, name of the driver, social security, criminal history. Only LAPD, as a public police department, a governmental agency, can collect that data. We provide what is publicly available to the LAPD for them to follow up on.
Carlisle says that the cameras are used to solve crimes on campus after they happen. Since last Monday's debate, it seems like Donald Trump's campaign just can't stay away from controversy.
Let's check in with our political anchor, Aidan McMillan, to find out more about what's going on. Thanks, Rachel and Etienne. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton both appeared at rallies in Colorado and Ohio. Clinton's speeches hit Trump on a report published this weekend by the New York Times. The Times obtained part of Trump's 1995 tax returns from an anonymous source. The documents showed Trump declared a loss of $916 million, possibly allowing him to avoid paying his taxes for an extended period of time.
Well, the New York Times has discovered at least part of the answer. Back in the 1990s, Trump apparently lost $1 billion in a single year on bad investments and failing casinos. Now, how anybody can lose $1, let alone $1 billion, in the casino industry is kind of beyond me, right?
Today, Trump alluded to the controversy surrounding his taxes, but he insists he's followed all tax laws.
It's like you admitted that you hadn't paid federal taxes and that was smart. Is that what you meant to say?
No, I didn't say that at all. I mean, if they say I didn't, I mean, it doesn't matter. I will say this. I hate the way our government spends our taxes.
The Times did not receive permission from Trump to publish the documents, and an attorney for Trump contacted the New York Times threatening legal action. I'm here with Susan Seeger, who is a First Amendment attorney and a media law professor here at USC. Thanks for coming in tonight.
I'm glad to be here.
So can you just comment, as a public figure, how easy for Trump is it to sue a media organization like the New York Times?
Well, Trump was very vague about what kind of legal action he would have taken against the New York Times. I think it's very difficult for him to win any lawsuit against the Times for this case. If he tried to sue for defamation, he'd have to prove it was false. He seems to be admitting that the tax returns are authentic, so I don't think he'd be suing for that. And he could be suing for publication of private facts, invasion of privacy. But he has to prove that these are not documents. These documents are not a matter of public concern. And I don't think he could prove that. So I think he's just making hollow threats because he's a bully and he surrounds himself by bullying lawyers.
Now, Trump has to have smart lawyers, so they probably know that this suing the New York Times wouldn't go anywhere since he is a public figure. So why do they continue to make threats like taking legal action against the New York Times?
Well, first of all, against some organization, bullying works. A smaller organization might be afraid about this, but the New York Times has a history of fighting lawsuits, and it's not afraid by this sort of thing. But Trump has filed 5 different lawsuits over 30 years, and he's lost every single one when he's tried to kind of suppress speech or punish speech about himself. So sometimes he just does it anyway, even if he knows he's going to lose.
And what's your opinion about the New York Times publishing material of this type that Trump didn't necessarily want out there?
Well, I think they're on solid legal ground. I think their lawyers looked at this and looked at Supreme Court cases that say very clearly that if you're a media organization and you publish documents and they're a matter of public concern, you can do that without facing a legitimate lawsuit if you didn't have anything to do with the leak itself. And the New York Times was given this anonymously, and so therefore they had nothing to do with however these were obtained by some other third party.
And so people like, you have Rudy Giuliani who's saying that everything Trump did was totally legal. And of course, the New York Times didn't say he did anything illegal. But then you have Mark Cuban, on the other hand, who's saying that Trump avoiding to pay his taxes was un-American of him. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, I'd just like to tell a quick story about that. When I was at my local pharmacy lately, there were 2 women there, and somehow Trump and Hillary came up and they said, "Can you believe he doesn't pay his taxes?" They were just outraged by that. So I think that says a lot, that a lot of people who pay their taxes, and I pay my taxes, are appalled.
And so it'll be interesting to see how this incident will, if it even will affect the vice presidential debate for tomorrow. But tomorrow, Annenberg Media's Vote 2016 will have live post-VP debate coverage. So check us out on USC Annenberg Media's Facebook page at 7:45 for the live coverage, or tune in to uscannenbergmedia.com. Thanks, Etienne and Rachel. Back to you.
Thanks, Aiden. A recent quake swarm in the Salton Sea has Southern California on high earthquake alert until tomorrow. Experts at the U.S. Geological Survey say there's higher chance in our area for a magnitude 7 quake or bigger. The spokesperson for the Southern California Earthquake Center said being prepared is key.
Earthquakes are something we can't control. We can't stop them, we can't start them. And that's what makes people feel afraid of them. But there is something you can do. What you can do, if you want to take control of the situation, is prepare. Prepare to survive and recover.
Ballman says the best way to stay safe in an earthquake is to drop, cover, and hold on until the shaking stops. Some students aren't as prepared as they want to be.
I'm not really prepared for an earthquake, but my roommate always tell me to prepare for it. He has his own bag for in case of an earthquake.
My mom told me to put water by my bed in case I get trapped, so now I just have a water bottle by my bed.
Employees at the California Science Center suggest keeping an emergency pack ready with a flashlight, batteries, duct tape, a radio, canned food, your passport, sturdy shoes, and drinking water. They say it's also important to secure objects in your home so they don't fall over. The quake alert ends tomorrow, but Ballman says it's still important to be prepared. Many students are observing the Jewish holiday Rosh Hashanah. Hear why students say it's challenging to observe the holy day.
Cal State students are raising awareness about mental health issues on campus. See how USC stacks up.
An artist at USC is doing more than just painting. Find out what else makes her a talented Trojan.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
A mental health advocacy group at Cal State Long Beach is trying to raise awareness about the number of college students who commit suicide every year. Annenberg Media's Lauren Day talked to students who are dealing with depression to find out what resources are available to them.
Backpack after backpack line a courtyard at Cal State University Long Beach, 1,100 of them to be exact.
Seeing it laid out in this manner really helps students digest that data and realize how prevalent suicide is.
Not only do all these backpacks represent the 1,100 college students that commit suicide every year, but many of these backpacks have personal stories. This one represents Zachary Brunt, who committed suicide in 2012.
It gives you chills just actually looking at every single backpack that's here.
The CDC says suicide is the second leading cause of death among young adults. DPS says there have been 15 attempted suicides and 5 suicide deaths at USC since January 2015. These numbers include faculty, staff, and students. Dealing with depression can be overwhelming for college students. One USC student who wants to be anonymous described her struggle.
It's a lot to try to kind of spread yourself thin enough to be able to do it all, but still have a social life and have good grades and still sort of try to get sleep.
A Cal State University Long Beach student who is a survivor of a suicide attempt says he wants others to know they're not alone.
No matter what, just talk to somebody.
And if you need someone to listen, the USC Engelman Health Center offers counseling services. Dr. Kathy Greco says the department recently hired a referral coordinator and will be adding part-time counselors to meet student demand. For Annenberg Media, I'm Lauren Day.
The military released a handbook today that provides guidelines for working with transgender troops and commanders. The ban on transgender people serving in combat was lifted in June. We asked veterans at USC how they felt about the change.
I don't see anything wrong. I mean, the opportunity for anybody to serve, I think it should be open. So, I mean, if they want to serve, as long as they're doing their job, you know, like everybody else, hey, then all for it.
When it comes to the combat aspect of everything, that, like your personal feelings, it doesn't matter. Like serving the military is not a right. The only thing that should matter is combat effectiveness.
Starting today, the military is required to provide access to transgender-related health benefits, including hormone treatments, medical leave, and gender reassignment surgeries.
You know, Etienne, it actually wasn't that hot, surprisingly, this week.
Yeah, I think I felt a little breeze. Let's take it over to Lauren, our weather anchor, to see what she has in weather. Lauren?
Thank you, guys. Yes, it actually was pretty pleasant out today. However, there is a high wind advisory as well as a high rip current risk advisory out, so be aware of that. Let's kick things off with your current conditions. As you can see, it's 72 degrees out, pretty fair, which is looking at some 44% humidity as well. Let's take a look at tomorrow's Southern California forecast. You can see that in the Inland Empire, it's going to be in close to the 80-degree range, as well as 65 in Big Bear. Moving on to the coast, you can see that it's going to be 73 in Malibu, as well as 79 in Thousand Oaks, and 81 towards the valley. Bringing it back to the USC area, you can see that it's going to be 76 degrees in USC, 73 at LAX, 77 in Long Beach. Taking a look at your 5-day forecast, you can see that it's going to start in the 70s and work its way all the way up into the 90s by the weekend, so those cool temperatures aren't staying for long, unfortunately. So now, every week I'm going to be introducing you to a super creative artist on campus. This week, I've got a student who sculpts, paints, and designs with makeup. Claire Howes is a junior in the Roski School of Art and Design. She says experimenting with new mediums is what draws her to art.
I just love making things, and I love showing people what I can do, and I just have never questioned pursuing art. It's always been yes, I'm going to be an artist. I just love it so much.
Her passion has taken her way outside the classroom.
Right now I'm on a great streak of getting commissions by different people for murals or for music festival, art pieces.
She's exhibited her sculpture work at shows downtown, and her makeup designs have been featured in a BuzzFeed video.
I really like the bloody, gory stuff because I think that's the most, eye-catching.
Eye-catching is an understatement. Claire already has another commission in the works at a student's apartment in Row House at USC. And speaking of talented Trojans, do you guys have any interesting, weird talents?
I mean, I can say the alphabet backwards if that counts.
Personally, I think that's pretty impressive. I don't, but thank you so much, Lauren, for that update.
Thank you.
The Jewish New Year, or Rosh Hashanah, continues today as families mark the beginning of the year 5777. Many USC students are spending the holiday at Hillel. USC Hillel holds services for Jewish students to help them celebrate with their Trojan family. Although Hillel is just across the street from campus, many students still had to miss class to enjoy the holiday.
I did miss class for services. It was excused, but I still missed the material that was taught during class, and I'm going to have to make up work.
I went home yesterday to be with my family in Orange County. However, I wasn't able to be with them for today as well because I had to come back for class.
Students say professors have been respectful of the holiday and granted them excused absences. This still does not make up for the material students may miss. The Jewish High Holy Days end next Wednesday with Yom Kippur, a day of atonement. USC football finally got a win this past weekend.
Yeah, and they have kept their home winning streak alive. Let's toss to our sports anchor, Alexa Palermo, for more.
That's right, guys. USC football played well and are undefeated at home, but they're looking for another win this weekend. And USC wasn't the only college football team to dominate over the weekend. There were a bunch of upsets, and I'll get you into some of your favorites. And my pick of the week is shocking the college football world, and you do not want to miss it. Sports are next.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
USC is home again this weekend to take on the number 21 ranked Colorado Buffaloes. This is the 4th ranked team the Trojans have faced this season. The Trojans had their most impressive performance over the weekend, and they beat ASU 41-20. Juju Smith-Schuster caught 7 passes for 123 yards and a career-high 3 touchdowns. Justin Davis had a 37-yard touchdown and rushed for 123 yards. But the shining star of the night was redshirt freshman Sam Darnold, who completed 70% of his passes and threw for 352 yards. Head coach Clay Helton believes the team will continue to improve.
Hoping it is a turning point. I saw a change last week. I know it was a loss and the nation doesn't see it, but as a coaching staff and players, we saw it.
Trojans put on a strong performance all around, looking like a cohesive and exciting team the entire time. The Trojans stay home this week to face Colorado, who is coming off a blowout over Oregon State. The Trojans have played the Buffaloes 10 times and have never lost to them. The men's water polo team is home again as they take on their next test, Pepperdine. The Trojans are currently ranked number 3 after beating Pacific 15-7. USC scored the first 7 goals of the game to get its 12th win of 2016. 10 different Trojans contributed to the 15 overall scored goals, while McQuinn Barron racked up 14 saves in the goal. Barron is currently 3 saves away from making USC history and having the 2nd most career saves.
Next step for us is protect our home. The next games are all here at home, and we got a chance to protect it and show that this is our house.
The Trojans are currently 12-1 this season and looking to pick up 2 more wins against Pepperdine and Irvine this weekend. Over on the court, the women's volleyball team is gearing up to take on Arizona State in the Galen Center. The women of Troy are ranked number 22 after beating Utah on the road 3-2. Senior libero Taylor Whittingham was named Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week this week. The team is 2-2 in Pac-12 play and is looking to improve that this week.
I think everybody's on the upswing here. We're excited. We liked the way we played, and I thought we had a great effort. I thought our energy level was really good.
The Rams are back home this weekend to take on the Buffalo Bills. Los Angeles has been on the road for 2 weeks in a row and have played very well. The Rams are 3-1 after a win over the Cardinals in Arizona. The Rams have created the perfect formula for their season. In the last 3 games, they have had the lead in the 4th quarter and rely on their defense to get them the win. The Rams defense is continuing to shine as former Trojan and current Rams safety TJ McDonald intercepted a Hail Mary pass in the back of the end zone to seal the Rams' 17-13 win over Arizona. This weekend will be the first time this season that both USC and the Rams will have a home game in the same weekend. Needless to say, Expo Park will be filled with a lot of football excitement this weekend. College football is a volatile game, and that could be clearly seen this weekend. There were 8 ranked teams that fell to unranked teams or teams ranked lower than them, and 5 games with absolutely insane finishes. Stanford was ranked number 7 when they went to play Washington, but the Huskies came out fighting to cruise to a 44-6 victory. Stanford dropped in the AP poll. The Huskies recovered a fumbled punt and scored 6 touchdowns. The Huskies kept the Cardinals scoreless until the 3rd quarter. Washington is now ranked number 5, and Stanford is ranked number 15. Florida State was ranked 12th going into the game against unranked North Carolina. FSU was behind as their quarterback evaded tackle after tackle to score and take the lead with 25 seconds left. With just 4 seconds left, UNC kicked a 54-yard field goal to win the game 37-35. College football is always full of crazy plays made with only seconds left on the clock. And while these were 2 amazing games, they were just a couple of the exciting games that happened this past weekend. My pick of the week this week goes to the single play that shocked the college football world. Tennessee was down by 3 with 4 seconds left and 10 yards outside of field goal range. With the game on the line, it was time for a Hail Mary. Check it out. Tennessee quarterback Josh Dobbs hurls the ball into the air. Jawan Jennings is in the end zone being blocked by 6 defenders. Jennings jumps up in the air and picks the ball out of thin air, coming down with a touchdown and the win. It's absolutely crazy.
Thanks so much, Alexa. Facebook may have killed the need for the USC free and for sale page. Here where you can find your next microwave.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
What's up? What's happening today?
Let's go, those pearly whites, man.
Yeah! Hey, boys, check it out. Stand up, do my terrorists, don't compare us. Go!
Ooh, cute. Are you good to try?
I'm fine. Hey girl, what's up? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Buying and selling items on Facebook just got easier. The social media network unveiled Facebook Marketplace today, a separate feature that allows users to purchase and post objects up for sale. You can direct message sellers in Marketplace to work out and exchange the details. Right now, the feature is only available in the US, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, with plans to expand in the coming months. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Rachel Frayne.
And I'm Etienne Smith. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.